Wyoming, one of the biggest states in America and also the emptiest. Just 600,000 people live here. That's less than half of the population in Los Angeles. But here's the weird part. Wyoming is the 10th largest state in the United States. Almost 100,000 square miles. That's a lot of land. So, how does a state this big end up with almost nobody in it? Well, this wasn't an accident. This is a story about geography, history, and choices. The kind of choices that shaped Wyoming into America's most empty state. Let's dive in. Wyoming sits high, really high, like 6,700 feet high. It is the second highest state by average elevation in the country. Most of it is mountains, high plains, and rugged basins. As you would expect, this landscape is not friendly for building big cities. It has steep mountains, harsh winters, low rainfall, and poor soil. This is not Iowa's soft farmland. This is not California's sunny coast. This is a place where growing crops is hard, transportation is difficult, and the weather will absolutely beat you up. The winters are long, the wind is intense, it's dry, cold, wild. Even today, Wyoming is one of the windiest states in America. If you went back in the 1800s, it will be so hard for you to survive here. Geography doesn't just shape land, it shapes settlement, and Wyoming's land made it incredibly difficult for large populations to form. Wyoming gets very little rainfall, especially in the central and western regions. Much of it is essentially a high-altitude desert. This means hard to grow crops, hard to support big farms, hard to sustain cities. Even the areas that do get water have brutal winters. Imagine trying to build a farm community where the winter lasts half the year and temperature drops well below freezing. This made people go where land could feed them, as Wyoming simply could not offer that. Before settlers, Wyoming was home to the Shoshone, Arapaho, Crow, Cheyenne, and Lakota. But here's something important. They didn't form dense, permanent settlements. In fact, they moved seasonally because the land could support big, stable populations. From the 1840s to 1860s, the Oregon Trail ran right through Wyoming. Hundreds of thousands of people crossed the state, and almost none of them stayed. They were trying to get past Wyoming to Oregon's fertile valleys, California's gold, Utah's religious settlement. Wyoming was a rugged, high-altitude obstacle, a place you had to cross, not a place you chose to live. When the railroad arrived in 1867, towns like Cheyenne and Laramie popped up, but they were service towns, not major population centers. The railroads brought workers, but they also took them away after the job was done. Unlike Chicago, Denver, or San Francisco, Wyoming didn't become a trade hub because there wasn't enough fertile land, industry, or workforce to support a booming city. Even if Wyoming had minerals like coal, trona, some oil, and a bit of gold, none of it compared to the giant quantities that were in Colorado or Nevada. Hence, mining towns stayed small and temporary in turn. They never grew into cities. By the late 1800s, Wyoming became a ranching country due to wide open ranges, cowboys, and cattle. But ranching requires land, not people. So a single ranch could cover over 100,000 acres and only employ a few dozen people. This created a state with a lot of landowners and very few residents. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, the federal government decided to set aside enormous area of Wyoming as national forest, military land, wildlife reserve, and Yellowstone Very First National Park. This meant millions of acres were never available for homesteading or building new towns. Instead of farming communities, Wyoming ended up with protected wilderness. Today, Wyoming's economy relies on oil, coal, natural gas, ranching, and tourism. And these industries don't need massive numbers of workers. Mining and drilling are capital intensive as machines do most of the work. Ranching requires huge land but tiny workforces. Compare that to states like Texas or California, where industries need millions of workers. Wyoming simply doesn't have that kind of demand. When your economy doesn't require people, your population stays small. Here's a big one. Wyoming has no major metropolitan area. The population of Cheyenne is about 65,000, of Casper is about 58,000, and of Laramie is about 32,000. That's it. Young people often leave for bigger cities with more jobs, more schools, more social life, and more opportunity. And new migrants rarely move into places without economic pull factors. Wyoming's beautiful, but beauty doesn't build population. Crazy enough, Wyoming's culture embraces the open West. People here like the emptiness. They like the quiet. They like the space. This is the cowboy state, the least crowded place in America. And for many residents, that emptiness is the point. More land than people isn't a problem here, it's a feature. So what is the conclusion? Wyoming didn't fail to attract people. It was never designed for millions. Its geography is tough, its climate is harsh, its early history pushed people through the state, not into it. Its economy doesn't need large populations, and huge amounts of land were preserved instead of being developed. Put it all together and Wyoming becomes exactly what it is today. A massive state with the smallest population. A place built on wilderness, no density. A place where open space stretches for miles. A place that feels like the last piece of the American frontier. And honestly, for a lot of people who live here, that's exactly how they want it.